I'm doing a video, as you can see. Yes, I'm doing another video. I did not want this video issue to defeat me. I know I said in my the podcast or the episode before the last episode in my quick update it was called Quick Update, a video rabbit hole, that I was never going to do videos again. I can't stand doing videos. It's just not my thing. And the thing is I was frustrated because I was trying to figure out how to blur the background. I was trying to figure out how to, a lot of things. And I was just frustrated at the amount of time it was taking me to figure this stuff out because I had been doing so well with doing episodes, getting them, weekly, and I was just really motivated and I didn't want to lose that streak. So it frustrated me. And so I finally did find a way to blur the background, as you can see. It makes it look a little more, since I have such a cluttered area. I mean, you can even see my stuff I use on my face and Q-tips over here. But it should be blurred enough that it centers me in the screen. So that's beside the point, but I just wanted to get that out of the way because yes, here you see me doing another video, and I do plan to do more videos, but I'm not always going to do videos. It's just going to be whenever I feel in the mood, whenever I'm in the mood to do videos, or if I'm in the mood to do audio. But speaking of clutter, and that's why I started this episode with not just the explanation, because I needed to get that out of the way, but I also wanted to talk about clutter and stuff and our obsession with stuff. And I'm not talking about me or somebody, my next door neighbor, or just I'm talking about so many people in the United States, especially, and I have the statistics, that are obsessed with stuff. And I used to be this way. You might recall a few episodes from 2021 where I was purging my lifestyle, purging my house of unnecessary things that I didn't use, things that had no value. They did not bring me any kind of peace or happiness or joy. They just were sitting on a shelf collecting dust and hanging in a closet I never wore. The list really goes on and on with the stuff. And I still firmly hold to that. I know there are some of my old episodes that were just me in the moment. I was depressed about something or frustrated. It was just an in the moment feeling. And because my podcast is a journal style podcast, that I felt the need to, if I was going to sit down and write how I was feeling that day in my journal. It doesn't mean that I still feel that way about certain things. I'm not depressed all the time anymore. There's a lot of things in my old episodes that do not apply to me now in 2023. But I love that they're there because they show my growth. And one of the things that I have really grown into in my life is getting rid of unnecessary stuff and defeating the urge to buy more. Because around 2012, 2013, when I had success with my books and I made a boatload of money, I didn't do a lot of people go out and buy, 10 cars or a mansion, things like that. I did buy a house because I'd never had a house before. And I had 3 kids, and I always wanted, to have our own home where my kids could each have a room of their own. And so I did buy that. And I did buy a Jeep. I always wanted a Jeep. It's my favorite vehicle. So yes, I did I did buy a Jeep, and I loved that Jeep, and I ended up selling it after I moved to Mexico because it cost more and it was very complicated just to get it into Mexico. Long story. Not going to get into that. But the one thing that I had a problem with was that little things like just buying random crap that I really didn't need, just something that I liked. I was in the store one day and, oh, that's cute. That would look good with this, or that would look good with this. We've all done it. We've all done it. We all do it. I still do it. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and tell you, you need to stop doing this when I'm, at times I still do it. I have more control now, especially because of my situation. But even before I left Arkansas and moved to Mexico and got myself in this particular situation, I still had more control because that was around the time I was purging all of this stuff. And something that I realized about not having so much stuff in our lives, and I'm talking material things, or not just material things. Like another thing that I purged were my social networking accounts, my social media accounts. I deleted a Facebook page. My Facebook account had over 40,000 followers or something like that. I deleted my Pinterest. I deleted a bunch of accounts and got rid of a bunch of unwanted stuff because that was mental clutter. And the one thing that I still stand by today is that having less and getting rid of the things in your home, in your car, in your other places where you might store things that you don't need is so freeing. So let me read off really quick a statistic that I pulled from Boxby and the Self-Storage Association Statistic Brain. That's the source for these statistics. But I did look at several other websites to kind of, do some comparisons. I don't want to just look at the first website I see and say, okay, this is a true statistic. So I did my research and I found everything pretty much says the same thing or close to the same thing. So we're going to go with this. In the U.S., 65% of self-storage renters have a garage in their home. 47% have an attic. And 33% have a basement. This suggests that Americans have more things than their homes allow them. But despite what these statistics suggest about consumerism, one thing is certain. People need to store their items. People have too much stuff. Another statistic that I found is that 90% of the world's self-storage facilities are in the United States, and only 10% are in the rest of the world. That makes the U.S. the largest self-storage market worldwide, and that is really telling because the United States is such a rich country. And this just brings me to all of those times where I would be in a Goodwill store or this store called Savers that used to be, it's closed down now, but they had several Savers stores in Arkansas. It's like the Goodwill, but they were bigger and they had a lot more variety of stuff. And I would be in there. My husband would often go looking for DVDs, get really cheap DVDs in there, and he has a massive DVD collection. But that's his collection, his hobby, something that he likes to do. And kind of like, a lot of people with books, like I used to be. I had hundreds upon hundreds, if not, thousands of books. And I love books. Who doesn't love books? I love to smell them. I love to feel the paper. I just love books, absolutely. But I knew that even that, for me, I'm not saying that you have it's bad for you, that I'm not telling you, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't collect books. I'm just saying, for me personally, even having that many books in my house, was just overwhelming. And that on top of all of the other things that I had purchased over time, whether in a store, or my big weakness was Amazon. I don't want to say how much I spent. I may have actually said this in a past episode, but I'm not going to say it now. I spent in the upper thousands of dollars on Amazon in just 1 year, and multiple years in a row. And this was because I had an obsession with shopping. I would be, and if this sounds familiar to you, listen really closely to everything that I'm about to say. I had an obsession. I love to go online and to scroll through mostly like shirts and dresses, clothes and things. And I think a lot of that came from not having that when I grew up. I didn't have a lot of new stuff, I never had the in-style clothes and or shoes and things like that. And I think when I came into success and had the money to purchase pretty much whatever I wanted, that's what I did. And I would always tell myself, oh, it's just, I need this for this, or it's okay if I buy this one little thing. I'd always found an excuse or a reason to buy something that I knew in the back of my mind I didn't need. And in that moment, you feel like, you want it. You want it so bad. You need it. There's nothing that's going to change your mind. Then after you get it, you may wear it once if it's clothes, and then you may never wear it again. You may not even like the way it looks on you. And then you're too lazy to, send it back for a refund. I know so many people, or I've heard of so many people, and I know some personally, who buy stuff on Amazon constantly and don't like it. It doesn't fit. It wasn't what they expected. And they just don't worry about sending it back. And that is just so wasteful. And that money that we're spending on these things that we could just get a refund so easily, because Amazon, 95% of the stuff on Amazon, especially if it's on a Prime, you don't pay for return shipping. You just print off the free shipping label, and you can schedule for UPS or whoever to come pick it up from your front door. It doesn't cost you anything to send this stuff back, but so many people just, they don't want to deal with it. And I did that at first when around 2012, when I moved into my house, and I bought a lot of stuff, and I just, probably 80% of it I didn't even use, or I didn't like for some reason. It didn't fit or whatever. And it just sat in my closet. And it was a lot of crap, to put it bluntly. And at one point, I even had my own self-storage unit. So I'm not exempt from these examples, but I did wake up and realize that, if I'm going to waste this money on this product that I'm not, I don't really want it, and I'm not going to send it back, that money could go towards something else. You could send it, to a charity. You can go to a local homeless shelter. If you really don't want that money, if you really just want to flush that money down the toilet, and it doesn't mean anything to you, that you can't even take the time to send it back for a refund, then think about all the thousands of dollars, hundreds or thousands, or whatever it is in your case, that you could use to help people with that money. And it's really kind of sad. And that leads me to like the food, even food. We buy so much food, and each week or however often we go to the grocery store and we buy stuff. Number one, we buy things we see like, oh, this is on sale, I better get extra. Do we really need it right now? If it's something that, you use every week, something that you buy, like every single week because you need it for a recipe or something that you really love and you know for sure you're going to eat it, and then I don't see the problem with that. But so many times I have gone into a grocery store and bought extras of something just because it was on sale. If you don't need it, if it's not something you use often, don't buy it. You're just wasting money in the long run. I didn't look up statistics for this time, but I did probably a couple of years ago, and the number was astounding. That the amount of meat and that is that's stuck in the freezer that ends up getting freezer burn it's a lot. We waste so much meat, that all those poor animals that are slaughtered horrifically, and we go out and we buy, the hamburger meat or the chicken or the pork, and we shove it in the freezer or the deep freeze because we need a deep freeze, because we need extra for backup. I don't really understand that concept either, unless you're like running a daycare center or a homeless shelter. But if you just have your own home, and again, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. I did this. I did it myself. I had my house, and I had my refrigerator with the freezer on it, a perfectly good working freezer, but no, I needed more, so I bought a deep freeze and stuck it in the garage. And I had it packed full of stuff. And you know what? Electricity went out a couple of times, and I almost lost everything when they didn't get the electricity back on, but the door didn't shut all the way. So sometimes when me or my kids would go outside to get something out of the deep freeze, the door wouldn't shut. So there was one time that I probably lost a couple, like $300 or $400 worth of food because somebody didn't shut the door all the way, and it just all went to waste. But the point is, we waste so much food, and I can't imagine. I mean, I imagine it, and it bothers me that, so many people are starving. And I mean, even here in Mexico, people are out on the street trying to just wash a windshield, or there's kids working for their parents to, selling like candies or little baked breads and things. They're little kids. I'm talking like 6, 7 years old, running around by themselves with food in plastic containers, trying to sell just to make money to buy more, to buy things that they need. And we waste so much food in the United States and in other countries too. Just like putting it in the refrigerator, not eating it, it goes bad, you end up throwing it out. You buy something because you think you might like it, you never try it, or you try it, you didn't really like it, it's not as good as you thought it would be, and then it goes bad, you throw it out. It's so wasteful. And I wish people would be a little more conscious of what they're doing when they buy anything. And let me go back really quick to what I was talking about, walking around the Goodwill. I realized I started talking about it and I skipped over that. So I remember when I'm walking around, I've got my little cart, and I was looking for something specific for a Halloween costume one year. And there was this lady, and she was going up and down every aisle, and she, but I mean, I'm describing her, but I could be describing anybody because a lot of people do this. And she was just putting just a variety of just everything in her cart. And I thought to myself, wow, like this cart was packed full and it was overflowing, just random stuff. And you can tell, like, well, obviously she didn't just go in there for something that she needed, because who needs all of these different random things? So, no, she was just going shopping, And I just thought to myself, probably every single thing in that cart that she's buying will end up in a box somewhere in her garage. And I thought to myself, okay, I shouldn't say that. I'm being judgmental. And I didn't, I was just thinking it. So I wasn't really, I felt a little guilty being a little judgmental. Like, well, maybe she is buying it to sell and, make a profit off of it. Maybe she has a little, like a booth in a flea market or something somewhere. So I started giving her the benefit of the doubt. But then I ended up behind her in the line, and she was, putting all the stuff on the little conveyor belt, and the lady that was the cash register, or the cashier, she was talking about, oh, this is cute and this is cute, and they were having a conversation while the lady was ringing the stuff up, and the lady with the cart just kept putting stuff on the conveyor belt, and she said, yeah, it's cute, but like most of this stuff, it'll probably just end up in a box somewhere. I was like, wow, that just shocked me, because that's exactly what I was thinking when I was being judgmental, or trying, not to be judgmental, but, we do it all the time. We assume things about people, and sometimes, I'm sorry, they're just true, but at least, I was just being judgmental to myself. I wasn't like, gossiping, talking about her to my husband or anything. I was just standing there thinking about it like, wow, that stuff is going to end up in a box. But really think about it. The stuff that you have in your house, the stuff that is filling your garage, or the money that you're spending on that storage unit because you don't have enough room in your house to store everything you own. When you purge yourself, when you get rid of this stuff, or give it to someone in need, or sell it, have a yard sale, it is like one of the most freeing feelings I have ever felt, is getting rid of the things that weigh me down. You may not realize it. You may be one of those people that you think you're comfortable in your house the way it is. A lot of hoarders feel that way. And I'm not saying that, you're exactly like a hoarder, but I'm saying, if you've ever watched that show Hoarders, you might know what I'm talking about. These people, they think they're comfortable the way they're living. They think that having all this stuff surrounding them is they need it. And they don't want to part with it under any circumstances. But when they do, they feel like such a burden lifted off of them. Because having a lot of stuff around you, having clutter, having things you don't need, having things that serve no purpose whatsoever in your life is, and on top of that, just adding to it all the time, is such a heavy, heavy burden. And I want you to feel that lifted off of your shoulders, and what it can do if you just get rid of it. Give it away, sell it. You will realize that having these things really does nothing for you. I'm not talking about your sentimental things or things that are absolute, necessities. I'm talking about all the other things. Look on your shelves. Do you see cabinets with lotion bottles with dust on the top, or makeup products that you haven't looked at in 2 years? Knickknacks that are broken, that you forgot where you even bought it, or who gave it to you. Did someone give this to me for Christmas? I don't remember. You have things that just take up space, and having an area that is clean and wide open. It can be the smallest area. So Anyway, that is my episode for today. I've been feeling this need. I've been seeing all this clutter in my studio and feeling like even though we've already gone through so many things and gotten rid of a lot of stuff, that I need to do it again. Not that we're buying a lot of things, because we don't, but I almost would feel like I would feel good if I didn't have anything but my laptop, my basic, just my necessities. I didn't have extra pans to cook with. I don't know why I need, 4 pans of the same style, like frying pan. I don't need 4 frying pans. Why do I need 4 frying pans? I have 10 glasses, but there's 2 of us living here and no one ever comes inside. So why do I need 10 glasses? Because it comes with a set? How can I part with some of the glasses that go with the set? It's not that hard. It's a lot of people have OCD. It's just an OCD thing, Oh, I can't get rid of that because it's part of a set. But that's going in deeper. But that is my episode for today, is that our obsession with stuff costs us so much money, time, effort. The more you have, the more you have to maintain. The more you have, the more you have to pay for. It really is such a heavy burden. It's heavy on your finances. It's heavy on your mind. It's heavy on your peace of mind. And you would feel so much better if you got rid of at least 50% of the stuff you don't need. If you got rid of 100% of the stuff you don't need, I would be super, super proud. But, I'll give you some leeway and just 50%, and see how it makes you feel. How freeing it can be to get rid of things and clean up and make your space more open and more inviting, whether to people outside or just to you. There's almost nothing better than walking into your own home. It's clean and it's not cluttered. And there's not a lot of things that serve no purpose in your life except to waste more of your money. So that's my episode for today. Until next time.